Good evening, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me here. Want to make sure it's coming in loud and clear. I've been running around and had some technical difficulties today, to tell you the truth. So give me a thumbs up or something in the chat if you guys have any problems hearing me or anything like that. Please let me know. I'm going to get started here, and I want to take the first moment to kind of say I'm pretty surprised by this. From everything that I heard back in February about Kareem Hunt, it didn't seem like it was this type of altercation. The folks that were trying to control it did a good job. So, this is until the visual evidence comes out, there's a lot of folks that I think were kind of hoodwinked, and me being one of them as well. This is a deal that you just can't see coming until you see exactly what it consists of. So let's get started. At the end of the day, you can debate back and forth whether this was something that should have been charged for by the Cleveland PD. There's all kinds of circumstances around it. And really, I don't have the police report. I have little information outside of what you all have. But I do want to say that this is something that's important. And the Chiefs had to do this. And again, if you can't hear me or you're having any trouble hearing me at all with the audio, please let me know. Right down here in the chat, okay? That would really help me out. The microphones have been kind of crazy today. So long story short, this is something they had to do. This, once you see what the level of this was. No, was it what TMZ called it? No, it wasn't. But okay, great. Thanks, Nate Hill. I appreciate it. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate that. Always get a little paranoid at first. So once you see the culmination of this, they had to do it. They had to cut him, because it's not just that it was an aggressive act against a woman. It was the fact that they lied to the Chiefs organization. Now, the Chiefs were very cagey. When I got the press release in the email, they didn't say whether it was Clark or whether it was Brett Veach or who it was. And Dan Bransletter, no, there's no way he comes back, period, ever. They have to cut ties. But when they released it, they said that he had talked to multiple people within the organization, in person. I assume that means face-to-face. I could be wrong, but in person, whether it's on the phone or not, and he lied to him. At the end of the day, it's one thing to get in altercations. I mean, honestly, if this was a guy in a bar that was doing this kind of thing, this wouldn't have been an issue. But it's something he's done in the past. He's had altercations with women in the past. And when you want to talk to him about it as his employer, as the guys who are trying to mentor him into a professional, and he lies to you, that's the end of the line. That shows a disrespect for you as an organization, as you as human beings, and you as leaders of this organization that right now is on the cusp of looking at a long playoff run and a possible Super Bowl. And you can't let that kind of cancer grow, period. And I know everybody throws the cancer word around, but clearly Kareem has some anger issues, right? And we talked about this on the podcast. If you guys want to hear, please go check out the podcast too, because Chris has some points that I don't make, and it had some good points. We did that earlier today just to try to get it out there. And here's the thing: if he's going to have that kind of continued aggression towards people, specifically women, this organization has to cut it out. And if you're not going to become a professional, and professionals don't do this, end of story. If you're not going to become a professional, you got to cut ties, because you have a history of Larry Johnson. You have a history of Javon Belcher. You have a history of Ty Hill. And Ty Hill's done nothing in this league. And I know a lot of people are angry about how come this happened to Kareem Hunt and they let him go, but Ty Hill's still on this roster. Ty Hill learned his lesson as a 20-year-old guy, turned his life around. Been nothing but a model citizen in Kansas City. Kareem Hunt has been in trouble in the 2 years he's been in Kansas City. That's the difference. It's the mark of delineation is you are now a professional in the NFL. You got to clean this up. End of story. So that's the big thing. Again, you could argue the details about it. I don't care to that. We can't change any of that. I will say that this was something that I didn't think was going to come out. And I think when it did come out, it came from Cleveland PD, because at the same time in the same post, they put up chest cams of the police officers themselves. And that's the thing. The police officers didn't press charges. They didn't arrest him. So why not come clean with your employer? Why not tell the Chiefs the truth? There's no reason. And this is something you just can't let that go, because it shows other young kids in this locker room that you can get away with stuff. And that's something you just can't let happen. Andy's a player's coach. That's something that he's known for. And that's great. Have a good relationship. Be understanding about what they go through as athletes. But you can't let them run the roost. And letting a guy come back that's shown his ability and his willingness to lie to your face can't be done. Long and short. So that's what I want to say about it. I see you guys are asking questions about the future, and I like that. We should be focused on the future. This team, regardless of who the running back is on a collision course with the AFC Championship game, in my opinion. Now, do they have hurdles to get there? Yeah, they definitely do. But that said, they are heading that direction. Angie, I agree with you. He should have walked away, and that would have been nice. It's tough to see this happen at this structure, this part of the venture, after you've put in this kind of work. But what we've seen amongst all my complaining, right, is that they're not going to focus on the run. This is not going to be the staple that it should be. Andy just isn't willing to do that. And, that's okay. You can't make Andy do what he's not going to do. We'll go over what's going to happen in the future. I just want to say there's a new feature on here for you guys who haven't been in the chat before. You can get your comments posted to the top of the chat so everybody can see them no matter when they're in here. If you want to, it's a little thing. There's a $sign down there in the chat. You can leave donations. You can do that to get your post posted up there, whatever you want. It's just another thing that as we go along and the channel grows, YouTube keeps unlocking stuff on me and saying, hey, you can do this, you can do that. So I'm just trying to put it all out there for you. I don't know what it is, but long story short, Spencer Ware's the guy. And because Andy is not going to change the whole offense and say, okay, we're run first now, I don't think that despite the differences in Ware versus Hunt, that this is going to have an effect to the point that they can't go to the Super Bowl. It's not that big. Hunt is unique, and his skill set in deflecting tacklers and making missed tackles happens. It's unique. There is no way to get that back. But Spencer Ware's his own guy. He's a little more straight ahead. I like that personally. He gets tough yardage where he gets out on the edge and say they run outside zone and they both get to the 5-yard point and they hit a tackler. Kareem Hunt's going to have that guy bounce off of him. Spencer Ware's going to try to run him over, and maybe not as often. I think also the very interesting thing is that Spencer's been very quiet about taking a backseat to Kareem Hunt since he lost his job to him during that injury. And I think what you're going to see is Spencer taking full advantage of now being the guy. This week, certainly he's going to be the guy. He's going to be, I feel like they're going to keep him in on first and second down. And I feel like they're going to give Damien Williams a little bit more shot as the third down back. And I see folks are asking questions. That's exactly it. Angie, you have a good question as well. Does Sharkhandrick come back? And I think that's a definite possibility. Obviously, they're not doing it this week. The timing's just too tight. Next week, I think I could see that. You notice they haven't filled the roster spot yet. So that's definitely amongst the realm of possibility, and we'll just have to see how that goes. I think that's a good thing. They didn't want to part with him in the first place. He's a locker room guy. He's put in the work to get this team to this point. I think it'd be great to see him come back. But for right now, Damien Williams is going to be that third down guy, I think. There is a scenario, and Chris brought this up on the podcast. And for all of you who don't subscribe to the podcast, it's Locked On Chiefs on iTunes and all that stuff. If you're concerned about protection, if you're behind, if you're looking to go down the field, you need more time in the pocket, Spencer Ware might get in on third down some as well because he's got the protection angle better than Damien Williams does. And that may be important in some certain cases. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be, I am hoping, because of what we saw in the preseason, I think you'll all agree, and what I saw on film prior to the draft, I think Darrell Williams has a lot of upside, and I really want to see him. He's the guy that again runs between the tackles, and he basically did the same thing at LSU that Spencer Ware did. Darrell can take some wildcat snaps, same as Spencer. That's another wrinkle that Andy likes to use from time to time, and I think it's important. So there's another back that's strong, that's able to hit between the tackles, has enough speed to get outside, and can do all the things that you're asking him to do. And I love that. And he's an undrafted guy. Spencer's not a high draft guy. Hunt wasn't a high draft guy. And we can talk about Bell in a second. I just want to cover the guys that are on the roster right now. I want to see, I mean, y'all know I'm going to say they need to put Sherman in there and run the ball down the throats more. And I'm hoping this week might be one of them because I expect them to be out to a pretty good lead. This Raiders team is not somebody that can really compete at any level in any phase of the game from what I've seen on film the last week. So start with Spencer, bring in Williams, hopefully keep everybody fresh by bringing in Darrell, and see where that goes. Maybe even Darrell and Sherman, man, that's a great goal line package in my opinion. I'd like to see that as well. A number of you are asking about this, and I'll get to this right now. Red Rocker, most of all, I think you're the most recent that I'm seeing right now. Levy and Bell. Lev Bell is a conundrum. And I think there's a couple aspects to what you got to remember. One, he's basically going to be a free agent. You're going to have to sign him to money. He's looking to make quarterback money, QB money. That ain't going to happen in Kansas City. This whole thing about this run is because you have a quarterback on a rookie contract, and that makes the difference. So that part can't happen. If he finds that there's no market out there, which I don't think that he's going to find a quarterback market at all, he's going to have to come off of his price. And if he were to do that, maybe he's more affordable. But here's the thing. This is a guy that has been all about him for 3 seasons. I mean, all about him. This one didn't bother to show up at all. You know, I had run-ins with teammates. This is not a guy that's a team player. He's not about the organization. He's about himself. The jet ski thing, I mean, that's just dumb. Go jet skiing when you're on a holdout. You know, hurt yourself one time, tweak your neck, give yourself a stinger. I mean, there's a million things that can go wrong. And if you're dedicated to your sport, to your craft, to playing for a team, any team, you don't do that kind of stuff. He's not dedicated to the sport or a team. He's out to get paid, in my opinion. And I don't think that's anywhere near what this team needs to be looking at. So, Andy Anderson, you're absolutely right. My other brother, Darrell, can run as well. My buddy, Darrell Jones, could probably run on this one. So I'd like to see that too. There are going to be other options. There's going to be plenty of guys in the draft because here's the thing. And he's not going to emphasize it as much as I want him to until I'm calling the plays for this organization. You don't have to worry about having a primetime running back. There are enough guys to spread it out and use their skill sets, and that's what Andy's going to do. Would he take the hit for – I assume you're talking about Lev Bell, Jonathan. Would he take the hit for Super Bowl rings? I don't think he cares. I just don't think so. I could be wrong. I don't know the guy. I've never talked to Lev Bell. Everything I hear says – he's not here just to win. He's not here for a ring. So there's going to be guys in the draft. And if you don't know me or if you're new to the channel and that's all you know of me, I do draft every year. I run a company called Rogue Analytics, and it's all draft and analysis, combinations, athleticism. There are literally a dozen guys in this draft through every single round that can run the ball for this team. The zone running is not tough to get a handle on. Goal line isn't going to be tough either. There's going to be plenty. So don't worry about that. I think that what they have is a nice combination of guys that can step in and go right now, though. And that's what's more important, is getting through this season. Because there have been times when Kareem has exploded and has made the difference in a game. So you have to have guys that can at least pull part of that, right? And cool, no, I don't want to see 10 in the backfield. You want to do the jet sweep thing and all that stuff? That's great. Do not line him up as the tailback any more than they have been. If you're going to try to run him between the tackles, that's just asking for trouble. I don't expect Andy to do that. You'll see him in the backfield, especially in the split backfield. I really like going and emphasizing that more with Tyreek Hill as one of the split backs. Maybe Ware, maybe Kelsey, maybe Sherman, as some of the others, because then you get the power and the lightning kind of combination. I think that's great. That's what they need to focus on. You've seen them take a step back from the creative kind of misdirection lately, and I think that's slowing it down a little bit for the postseason. I think you're going to see that come back in a big way come the divisional playoff round, because I expect this team to have the bye. I don't think they're going to be playing wild card weekend, so that's something to keep an eye on. Charles coming back. I'd love to see Charles in a uniform again, but his legs just don't have it. And as much as I'd like to see the old the old Jamal Charles, he's just not got it. He can't help this team from everything that I've seen and heard about his tryouts around the league. So, it's going to be what it is. So at this point, I think what you have to look at, who takes the lead against the Raiders? It's going to be Spencer Ware in place of Kareem Hunt off the bat. But that doesn't mean it has to stay that way. And it doesn't mean that he's going to be a bell cow and the only guy that gets carries. They could spread it all out. They could, try to go more of a committee, and I like that. The commissioner exempt list, sure, Red Rocker. I have not seen it used that often. I had to go look it up a couple weeks ago too, so bear with me. I can't quote that this is perfect, but this is my understanding of it. The exempt list is when the commissioner steps in and says, this player cannot participate in our league for whatever disciplinary action while we do an investigation. And that seems to be what's going on here. So that's part of why you're not going to see him get claimed. I think someone will eventually sign him. I don't know how long that's going to be, and I expect that he'll probably be unavailable because of the exempt list for the rest of this season. So I don't think you see him signing with New England, making a playoff run, anything like that this season. Beyond that, who knows? That's going to be a bigger question mark, and it's going to come down to the fallout, the rehab, everything that he's willing to do in order to try and rehab his persona. There are teams that will take a chance, though, so we will see. About the Raiders, Watkins, Cool Mars, good question. Didn't talk about Sammy much in this week's game plan video. Just because when I record them, I have to record like a day ahead in order to get my edits done and all that, because I'm not a Premiere genius yet. I'm working on Adobe Premiere. I'm trying to get better, but it takes a lot of work. And I'm learning as I go still. So because of that back, Sammy hadn't practiced, so I didn't feel like he was going to play, and I said that in the video, but I didn't talk about him much. I think this is fine. I think you don't have to worry about Sammy Watkins because he's going to be okay. I think what this means is they see that this particular team, the Raiders, is not going to push them in any kind of way that you have to have him. Patriots released the video. Michael, that's funny. This is a week that Sammy can take off, and the offense is not going to be hurt. So I think that's smart, and I think that's a good decision. I don't think they should play Eric Berry for the same reason. You don't need him. They've been getting by. This team is not going to pressure you in any way that you have to be terribly concerned about. So let EB rest as well. Red Rocker, thank you. I'm working my tail off on some of this stuff, and I think the intro came along pretty well. I'm trying to make it a little more movie-like. I have a lot of aspirations about doing better videos, not just me talking face to you guys. But I watch a lot of channels that are like actual cinematographers and photographers who know what they're doing, and I'm just trying to learn. So, but I appreciate that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I tried to get a little bit of the Arrowhead feel, a little bit of rock and roll feel. We'll see how it goes. So, 6 TDs for Mahomes tomorrow. You could be right. I like that, Andy. You never know. Long and short, I don't think they need Sammy. I don't think they need Eric. It sounds like Mitch Morse might actually play. He's been out quite a long time on the concussion protocol. We don't know when he actually cleared. At least I don't have the date yet. So maybe he's been ready for a little bit. They waited for the bye and brought him back in. Mitch Morse might actually play against the Raiders, and I think that's a great thing. Again, for running inside, which I think is a vulnerability here, and I want to see some of that. So, Jeff Jenkins, good question about the team chemistry with the Hunt release. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room. The Chiefs PR has been great to me. Big thank you to them for including me on conference calls, on all the press releases, all that. But I don't have credentials. I'm not in the locker room. Matt Derrick's our guy inside who gets to talk to the people. So I will ask him. We'll have post game with Matt, and I think he'll be able to give you a lot of insight on the podcast. But long story short, Kareem Hunt has had a pretty good relationship with Mahomes, and he'll be missed, I'm sure. But I think guys understand what he did had to be dealt with. And if you're going to lie to the leadership, to Brett Veach, to Clark Hunt, why wouldn't he lie to you as a teammate? So I think this is just, it had to be done. I think the players are going to realize that. I think it's going to move on. I don't think there's going to be a big detriment to team chemistry, especially because Spencer Ware is an intense guy that people respect in that locker room. I don't know a whole lot about how the Williamses have come along in terms of the room, but we'll find that out. And I'll ask Matt about that specifically on the post-game show. So keep an eye out for that. Division games are usually competitive. Dan, you are absolutely right. And in fact, I have to get Chris, thinking of it, I have to get Chris my prediction tonight. So I'm going to revise it a little bit because I feel like this should be like a 2-1 scoring match, 42-21, something like that. But you're right. AFC West teams, and when they play each other, they keep it tight. There's a lot of animosity there. So that goes a long way. So Mason, thanks for telling me that. I didn't realize, I honestly was not paying attention to what KU's doing. I'll check that out afterwards. I'm sure it's recording because it always does. Spencer does fall a little bit too often, but he's out of practice. I think he's going to get into rhythm, and I think Spencer is a guy that needs a little bit more rhythm. So we're going to see how he goes today. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, we're going to see how it goes. I understand how you're all upset about this, and that makes sense too. It's a balance. And I think at this point, what's best for this team and what's best for the fan base, for all of you, is to say, this is the decision they made. They have to have another guy step up to play the running back role. Let's see how he does and look forward because the team is on a path that they can't let themselves get derailed from. That's the bottom line. You guys, we all deserve a Super Bowl. I don't play up my fandom that often. I try to be an honest analyst most of the time. But this fan base deserves a Super Bowl. And if anything going on with Kareem Hunt was going to deter from that, he's got to go. See ya. The door's over there. You're either on board or you're out the door, as far as I would say it. So let's see what they do. I went over. I was just going to stay on 15 minutes. Sorry to keep you guys this long. I know we wanted to talk about it. So we'll do this again post-game tomorrow night, probably right about the same time. Seems like that's the time that works best for everybody. If not, make sure you leave a comment in the community post that I put up about the time of the shows. I'm going to try to do that every week and keep that going. So I'm looking forward to talking to you guys after the game tomorrow. Appreciate you jumping in on a Saturday night. Stay safe out there. Have a good time tonight, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Thanks, guys.